Yo, I've been on mute the entire time.
What? Oh my gosh!
Okay, so now look at this is the new start. Okay, we're gonna just start all over again. Okay, hi,
Yeah,
welcome
let's do that.
to Box Goss. Your your weekly or every race week gossip sesh about all things Formula One. As you can see here today, we are a bit empty. It's just gonna be your girl Asay and I holding us down with a very special guest that'll be joining us in a moment. But we just wanted to shout out to Afi and Cello and that we love them and we hope that they can come back eventually to fight with each other. We're just saying. Anyway, so as we do that, let's get on to some news. Say, shall we?
Yeah.
You're mostly the one that knows everything. So
So apparently we're going to be getting a live, a drivers, a team principals parade at the Miami Grand Prix.
boo.
Well, it's not a boo thing if we just make it Gunter Steiner and his very nice boots.
I would like that, but we don't get nice things because that's life for you all. Okay, what's next? Oh my gosh.
Good.
Do you know something that I actually forgot about?
What?
We have a new race
Yes, we do.
for next year.
In Las Vegas. Hey, half the grid's not showing up to that race because they're going to be hungover, but it's okay. Hey, and it's going to be a night on the strip.
I've lost the will to live. Yeah. I mean,
Why?
no, I have lost the will. I have like they keep announcing this sort of shit, and every time I think about it, I just think about me losing the will to live, and just the fact that, yeah, that we can't get nice things.
I mean, it's Vegas. It was bound to happen. They had
I
to make some
say, I
Caesar
say,
salad on
I
it.
say, you and I have been to Vegas before, and
Yeah.
when we were
Well,
children,
yes.
and it was, yeah, it was just, I mean, it was just a lot.
Well, there was that Treasure Island show, which was
Not appropriate for us to be watching at the time.
oh, not at all.
I mean, look, I'm just saying I'm not about it. I don't really want it. I don't really feel like it should be a thing. I just like I even tweeted about it saying that we're probably going to get a Antarctican Grand Prix before we get a Las Vegas one. All of that fun stuff.
And
I mean, sorry, not a Las Vegas one, an African one. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. But yeah, I just am like, I'm not about it. I'm really not about it.
like when you put it like that, I feel where you're coming from. Like, look, I understand why they're doing it because there's a lot. I mean, F1's growing in the US more than we realize, and it's like three different regions get three different races. I get where they're coming from, and there's like there's 300 million people in the US right now, so it's like it makes sense. But hey, F1, please come to Africa.
Please come to
Please.
Africa.
Pretty please with sugar on top.
Like, please come to
And
Africa. Ooh.
sugar and spice and everything nice.
And
Yeah.
and all of the
It's
things.
yeah. But let's be honest, if the race goes through, after grid's not turning up because everyone's either gonna be hungover or they would have lost all their money.
I mean, I know that Daniel Ricciardo is secretly American, so he's thrilled for another opportunity to go back to the United States. But like, yeah, I just think I'm just not. I'm just like, okay. I think I'm just like,
Wait, also, this would be a good time to ask what happened with the Vietnamese Grand Prix? Because I remember 2020, in the before times, we were all hyped about it. There was like Vietnam, 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 and then
Well,
and then after was we were just like,
well,
oh,
I think
it's gone.
apparently it actually was a thing. Like it was actually, but like someone pointed it out to you, like it actually is on. It's an actual thing. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Um,
I mean, it
uh,
didn't make it to.
Another thing that I wanted to point out was um, Drive to Survive is not doing well. Apparently, they got a Rotten Tomatoes. Their Rotten Tomatoes for season 4 was like 14%. Say, did I lead you there? Hello.
I mean, I didn't finish Stretch.
Did you even start it?
I did, and it's no the Williams. And to be fair to Drive to Survive, the Williams episode was quite endearing.
Oh, I bet.
Like when they featured George Russell and Williams, it was a very sweet spot, and
Yeah.
it was quite endearing to see because it's like William. I mean, it's just like, oh, there's Williams and there's Williams.
Mm-hmm.
They're really are going through it. You
mm-hmm.
can see them struggle. You see them struggling.
Yeah.
And you know that they're not where they need to be.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing them get back up there.
Yeah.
And that part was so beautiful. And then they came through with the tribute to Sir Frank Williams at the end. And I think I almost started to tear up when I saw that. And also seeing George Russell finally get his breakthrough. I'm sorry. I think that I'm glad that they put a spotlight on him because it's quite inspiring to see his story. Like you see him going through it, and it's going through, and I do believe that he's an OG. Like he's going through it. He's young. He's funky. He's got potential, and then you're going through it, and then you realize that they kind of did realize he did actually realize his potential. And even though it was very, very staged, this talk with Twitter Wolf, it's like, you just know, it was just like, you see him coming through, and it's like, almost pathways worked!
No, I mean, I haven't watched any of it personally, and yet don't at me, honestly. I don't really, I don't know. But, like, I just think it's still, like, I really want to watch the Haas episode for some strange reason. I don't know, I just want to see it. But, like, I don't know, it's just, like, I kind of get it. I kind of get why people are like, oh, it's not as good this season and all of that, so... Yeah, I don't know. It's a little difficult. It's a bit messy for sure the season, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Um, cool. Do you have anything else to add?
I mean, no, I don't know. Like Las Vegas. I mean, Las Vegas. They disappeared. I mean, Las Vegas is there. I mean, I heard that for April Fool. Oh, this April, I mean, we announced on Twitter that we were going to be starting our own box line, and we want to let you know. And it's like we're getting premium boxes, very nice. You can switch it out, and if you pay a little bit extra, you might get a pink box.
We're gonna lose so many followers. Not that we had many. Anyway. Yeah, our box line will be fantastic. It's just going to be wonderful. But I am, y'all, I am tired. But anyway, with that being the news, I think we would be a nice segue. And I think there's just all the April Fool jokes actually this year, on that have been quite interesting. I'm just thinking about someone posted that like It was an April Fool's joke where discussions had broken down between Carlos Sainz and Ferrari, so they are going with Nikita Mazepin as the next. And I was like, that's just an awful joke. Let's not do that. That's definitely black humor. Anyway, um, anyway, we should go straight into the Saudi Grand Prix, and we are so excited to introduce this next person as our guest, the first ever non-guest, non-BBG I don't know, first guest for this season, which we're very excited to have. He's been a follower of ours, which we love, because we just like to see that that our voices are getting out there into the universe. I guess without any further ado, would like to bring out Paul. Yay!
Yes. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're excited.
I can tell you guys are really excited.
We're always excited.
To talk about, honestly.
We are always like the most excited people, but it is so wonderful having you on. We just love that. But like, you know, as we all do, we'd love to hear about your journey into Formula One. How did you get here? Who do you support?
Mm-hmm.
Like all of that jazz.
All right, so funny story actually. I started following F1 in 2020 actually. It was, and the funniest thing, I think it happened just after the Austrian Grand Prix, so the opening race of the season. After Norris got his podium and everything, I think I saw a meme video on YouTube. I don't know if you guys know Sim Dane, and he basically did a remix of Smooth Criminal, and it was like with Pastor Maldonado and Grosjean and everything, and it was just so funny. It was so funny, so funny. So honestly, I'm gonna send you guys a link afterwards. You guys need to watch this. It is too good. And so I think that I just watched it. I was like, wait, this is actually pretty cool. And from there, I just kind of ended up starting to watch F1. And it's so ironic because I remember growing up, I used to think that F1 was boring. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry, guys. I repent. I used to think F1 was boring because basically just going around the track, I was like, I don't get the point of that. But I had heard of people like Vettel, Hamilton before. And so 2020, I watched the whole season. 2021, obviously, amazing season. Truly amazing season. And I'm here. And it's been an awesome ride this far. And also, this season is also shaping up to be really cool. So I'm glad to be with you guys in the community.
Yay! I mean, you know, that's amazing that, you know, technology is always kind of crazy. So I feel like it's amazing that TikTok was the thing that got you in, or like into Formula One. Like, I actually really do need to watch that video really badly because Pastor Maldonado is secretly a criminal. Period. Like.
But then again, Maldonado, I can't believe he still has one win to his name. This guy's a legend.
And he is still the only Williams driver to have won since then. No other Williams driver has been on the podium. Like, it's... Again, I think he might be a criminal. I'm kidding.
I mean, there have been a lot of Williams drivers who have won. So, but I mean, for this era, yeah. I mean, for the podium, though, I mean, George Russell was on the podium last year in Belgium.
Wow, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool. But no, yeah, Pastor Maldonado is a legend. I remember way back when they used to have a website dedicated to him called DidPastorMaldonado.CrashToday.com.
Wow.
I love that. I love that so much. And I actually follow the guy that made it because he did a McLaren driver win, and then the countdown reduced to 0 when Daniel Ricciardo won. I think, was it Italy, the Italian Grand Prix last year? So it was magical. It was wonderful. So I really do appreciate accounts like that. There's like, did Ferrari win? They literally had an aneurysm last race. It was beautiful. I was
a beautiful thing.
I was so happy.
I'm happy for this.
Okay, so we have we have to ask, who's your favorite driver and who's your favorite team? Do you have one?
Oh my goodness. I think right now my favorite team is Red Bull. Favorite driver, that's kind of hard. I probably would stick with Perez this season because I was rooting for Verstappen, mostly just because I wanted an underdog to win. I wanted somebody else to win last season, and he did that. Obviously, it was a bit of a controversial last race. So I think um, this season is probably Perez. I think so. Yeah. I don't know. I just love his approach to F1 racecraft. Defense on point, and he's really been just getting more and more comfortable in the car since last season. So I think he's a great addition to Red Bull. I really think he is.
I mean, I totally agree. I'm a massive Checo fan. Checo is everything to me. He is the bee's knees. He is wonderful. He is beautiful. He drives very lovely. He is, and he like defends like a badass. So I really do like him. But I do find that newer people new to the sport tend to root for Red Bull. I mean, with the exception probably of what's it called? Selim, who's been actually watching F1 longer than I think all three of us actually. He goes for Red Bull too, but he's a massive Renault fan as well. So I think like it's kind of interesting, like that dichotomy that a lot of people that are new to the sport tend to go for Red Bull. So I mean, that's no shade. That's fine. That's alright. It's okay. We might have to boot you off a little bit. I'm kidding. But no, we totally get it. But anyway, with that, you must have been a very happy person then, for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, which almost did not happen. So
Yes.
it was pretty wild how everything like just ended up, and I am surprised. But we're gonna go right into it and talk about all things the Saudi Grand Prix. But actually, I think I want to start with this question before we get into it. Oh no, actually, maybe I'll leave that to the end because I don't know. I just don't. I'll leave that to the end. But let's talk about it really quickly. So qualifying happened, and we had Perez, your boy Perez, on pole. And he actually held that lead. He did really well holding it. And then we had a Ferrari 2-3 from Leclerc and Sainz. Yeah, what did you guys think about qualifying? Thoughts?
Qualifying was great. I mean, qualifying, like, the thing that shocked me, I mean, qualifying was a very good stint. Like, Checo did what needed to be done. And you can really tell that Ferrari, I mean, all that work that Ferrari has put into has paid off. And it's really great to see them, getting up there. I'm shocked that, I mean, well, there's a lot of things that shocked me. One was Hamilton not making it past Q1.
Oh!
My goodness.
When I saw that, I was like, wow. I mean, I'm not expecting me to get to Q3 every time, but Q1? Okay.
It was heartbreaking, honestly. And I'll talk about it more throughout the race because the fact that at certain points he was fighting for he was fighting like with Williams's. Like that's where we have come to. That is where Mercedes has come to. We are fighting with Williams's. Like how the mighty have fallen does not begin to describe what we're going through at the moment.
I mean, like, I think it turned out to be a whole Mercedes-wide thing because it's not, I mean, Mercedes is struggling, Aston Martin is struggling, McLaren, Williams, they're struggling. And you know what they all have in common? They all have Mercedes power units. So it's like, It's a Mercedes wide thing.
And this was my biggest fear going into this new formula. Every time there is a shakeup, the dominant team prior to it usually just falls apart. I mean, look at Red Bull, look at Ferrari in the last formula. It was just not great, and the regulations needed to have changed for them to start being a bit more competitive again. That's not like, I mean, I'm not throwing any shade to them. I'm just like, it's just a fact. So I had a feeling that this was going to happen, and I'm like, that's why I think when the season ended last year, and why I think I was a bit more cut up about it, was that I had a feeling that this could possibly potentially have been Hamilton's best last shot at another championship. And I'm not saying that that's where we've reached. Like, it's only race 2 out of like 20 billion. It is like, we're not, I don't think we're there yet. There's still, like, Mercedes has also a habit of being able to improve dramatically as the season goes along. So I do think that Mercedes will probably be in contention, especially looking at, you know, George Russell's very consistent performance this entire time. I mean, he qualified 6th, and then when we get into the race, I think he ended up in 5. So, like, I think, you know, I think there's potential, but like, it's, yeah. It was this was depressing. What did you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think that definitely Mercedes. I think it's not just Mercedes. I think the worst part about it was that Hamilton, on pure pace, wound up out by the end of Q1. I think that's the hardest part to swallow, honestly, because as you said, Russell, he did pretty well. And even in the race, funnily enough, right, Magnussen did fantastically well. That's once again the whole thing about new formula, a bunch of changes. The guys who were back markers last season are doing exceptionally well this season. And so I think that it's funny because I think just before the season started, actually, the whole silence that Hamilton took off of social media, in my mind, I was like, I really hope that he'll be able to come back next season. I mean, that is, of course, this season, and be competitive. Because the thing is, it's going to be a whole mind game. And right now, after 2 seasons out the gate, 2 races out the gate, Ferrari is looking super strong. They're looking like they're going to dominate this entire season. And still early doors. Red Bull, they were doing, I mean, they did very well last season, and they're doing pretty well. I mean, the first race was a disaster for them, but, you know, they're doing relatively well as well. So I think quality was, it was a big, I think it was a big shock. I think it was a big shock, and I think that, I don't know how Hamilton is taking it personally. I mean, you know, it's what we see on the media, but then for him, knowing that I think he knows the potential is there. Because obviously Russell did pretty well. But what happened there, that is hard for him to swallow. And I think it's hard for everybody else to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that he's a 7-time world champion for a reason, you know. And I think that he'll be able to bounce back.
Yeah.
I really think so.
Absolutely.
I really think so.
Agreed.
One thing that also shocked me about what happened with qualifying was what happened to Mick Schumacher. I'm so happy he's okay.
Yeah, that crash was very, very scary, and good for Haas. I mean, I'm so glad that, like, Haas is now, like, just like, we're just not going to put another driver in. We're just going to go as is. I appreciate them for doing that. But yeah, they say they keep making changes to make that track more safer. How? I mean, even in Formula 2, there were also serious crashes that happened that weekend. I don't understand. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Oh, and then let's not even begin. And then let's not even start with the whole attack that happened on one of their sponsors. What's it called? Refineries, not too far away from the track. That almost made us not have this race at all, which I think that's actually a good segue, because even before qualifying, we didn't know if this race was going to happen. There was visible plumes coming from the track. It was a little scary. So the drivers hauled themselves into a conference room for 4 hours just to chat
Yeah.
about all of this. And I they and more information came out. The team principals calmed them down. I don't know what happened, but obviously they went racing and it happened. What do we think? Should that have happened?
Oh, I mean, like, look, I mean, it's no way, like, how do I say this? This isn't against Saudi Arabia, because truth be told, this could have happened, like, I hate to say it, but it could have happened anywhere in the world. But the thing is that, I mean, if you cannot convince your entire grid that it is safe enough to race, like if the conditions are safe enough to race, then you gotta back it up and head home. And it's like, because I mean, there's no way that, I mean, I can't see them. Like, apparently at the time when they went into that meeting, it was clear. Everyone was scared. The drivers were scared. And they're speaking up, and in that meeting, they were speaking up for their teammates who do not even get to have a say about it. And they're saying, look, we're scared too. We like our lives. And we want to be safe. And it's just like, and it's like, there's no way that there's no way that they were shooting the breeze for 4 hours if they did not feel that it was okay.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I also think that another aspect to it is that, Aramco, major sponsor, huge partner for F1, and I cannot help but come to the conclusion that a lot of this has to do with money, right? A lot of the reasons why they didn't cancel it and move it, let's say, just say, hey, guys, let's just go to Australia, or even try to come up with a compromise, was because of the money, and that is a bit worrying. Well, it's not a bit, I think it's very worrying, honestly, because it just sets a precedent, right? We saw F1 stance on Russia, but are we gonna do the same thing when it comes to Saudi Arabia? This is safety, and it's not as if it was a threat. It actually happened. Missile strike, like just a few kilometers away. Like, how do you justify that? And how do you say, hey, guys, just go racing, blah blah blah? Like, I think that it's something that F1 needs to take a look at. I mean, I understand that, of course, right? These guys are all about making money and turning a profit. It's a business, but then safety comes first. Safety really does come first. And I know, as some people were saying actually online, if Vettel was there, he would have been livid. He would have been absolutely livid because, like, we know his stance on these kinds of things, right? And this is just unacceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, the race was great, but I do not think that for our entertainment, drivers need to be put in such high levels of risk, right? So, I don't know. I'm not comfortable with that whole thing.
Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, look, it was very entertaining. We had a great time. It was wonderful. It was a vibe. Like, people won. People came away with points. It was a thing. But, like, I think it was just... I think, the FIA and F1 as a whole is a very hypocritical organization where they don't really give a shit. It's just basically where the money is going and whose pockets are being lined and what. And I was actually against Saudi Arabia, honestly, from the get-go. I've not been a fan of this track at all. But it's a fast track that I think a lot of kinks still need to be sorted. Honestly, in my opinion, it's gotten better. Last season was a joke, but there's still issues. And I think that plus this incident. And oh my gosh, I really would love to go to Saudi Arabia, so please don't kick me out of the country if I try coming there, please, because it's such a beautiful country. But I do think that, it is a bit hypocritical that, we're not going to go racing in Russia, where, if we look at where the war is being waged, it's not being waged in Russia. It just happens to be the Russians are the aggressors. But Saudi Arabia being directly attacked, not too far away from the track, and everyone saying this is fine, makes no sense. I think it was, I mean, if you don't trust the FIA, before Abu Dhabi or like after Abu Dhabi, I think Saudi Arabia maybe has cemented that for you. But I think, yeah, it was just a poor decision. But anyway, they went racing.
I
um,
mean, and like at the end of it, they said that apparently we're going to try and incorporate um, more of the driver opinions into where we're going to go. Do you guys buy it? Because
I
I don't.
I don't buy it. I mean, like I feel like times really have changed, and how much drivers can speak up about things is only now starting to get back to the level of what it was back in like in the 70s and the 80s, where they had the last big driver strike was, I think, was in the 70s for at Kalami, I believe, because of I think of surprisingly has nothing to do with the government at that time, but and this is South Africa, by the way. But has to do, I think, with wages, or like for drivers being able to change teams mid-season and how they negotiate their contracts. That was how it goes, and it was. Yeah, they like did a sit-in and everything like that. Like Nikki Lauda, that was like the era of Nikki Lauda and those sort of people, and like I think Emerson Fittipaldi and everyone like that. So like it was like big names, and like, but these drivers didn't have, like, I think at the time Nikki was maybe had won 2 or 3 championships maybe at that point in time. Like these are not people like Hamilton who's won 7, you know? Like so I'm amazed that like they had more pull than our drivers do right now. And I mean it's a money thing, I think. And where we race.
I mean at that point, they were big into making, but then at the same time, with the 1976 Japanese Grand Prix, they actually had to halt it a bit, and they actually had proper discussions about whether or not the race was going to go ahead, and they still went ahead with the race, even though all the drivers agreed that, like, look, it's not safe. They still said, look, we already paid for the rights to the show, to all the global rights have been paid for. You gotta go ahead.
But that's a different. That was I mean like that was dangerous personally, I believe. But like, and luckily, thank goodness there was no incident. But like the stakes were also high in that championship. If you remember, it was literally, I don't think it was level on points, but like Lauda and James Hunt, which by the way, if you have not watched Rush, what are you doing? Excellent movie for all F1 fans, old and new, brilliant. I live for it. It's wonderful. Anyway, also Chris Hemsworth is. Anyway. And Daniel Brühl deserved. I think he won an award for that. Sorry, we are in award season, and I was actually really annoyed that he didn't win an Oscar that season. But it's okay. I digress. I think like it was. Well, the Oscars are bullshit anyway. Anyway, as we saw also from last weekend, it was a shit show for them too. So it's great. It's not just us. But like, no, it was just like, but like, yeah, like in that season there were high stakes. Like Hunt and Lauda were almost level on points, and Lauda had just come out of this incredibly horrendous accident, and so like I think like everyone was like waiting to see what the drama would unfold. It was very much like Abu Dhabi of last year. It was the Abu Dhabi of last year, so it was just there's a lot, but like. At the risk of time, I guess we should talk about the race in some capacity. We had Max incredibly storm to the lead and win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and it was again a Ferrari. 2-3. It's falsely having a great season. I'm so happy for them. Like damn. And unfortunately, Perez, your boy Perez, he came forth. And it was. Yeah, look, the name of the game, honestly, is if Latifi has an accident that causes him to crash out and induce a safety car, somehow Verstappen is able to maximize on it and go ahead to win the race. I mean, at least And and I mean, like, at least this time it was like not controversial. Like, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked out well. But like, I need Latifi to retire. Like, I need him to. I really like effective immediately.
But I actually think that, I mean, just going off of Latifi's performance, I think he may be at risk. I mean, it's not a nice thing to say, but just looking at his pace and his lap times compared even to Albon, for example, who's wasn't in F1 for a whole season, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Latifi, because I mean, last season he actually had a few decent races, but he's just dropped off. He's just dropped off. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I think as soon as Latifi crashed, I realized like, oh no, this is going to change everything about this race. Honestly, and that did not end well.
It did not end one for at all. I mean, Perez really did get shafted in all of that. I felt really actually bad for him. It was just not great. And I also feel bad for Leclerc and Leclerc too. Like, he was actually having a pretty fantastic race right up until that moment. With all like they were Ferrari's doing well with like their pit stops and all of that fun stuff. So it was really really difficult. But I think I think I need Latifi to like I was griping about him last season, but you're actually right. I think he might get the boot very soon, because how can Alex Albon, who hasn't been in a car for how many years or a year or two, all of a sudden now out qualifying consistently his teammate who's been there for ages? Like, what are they doing with over there in Williams? Just keeping the seat warm for someone that's good that's going to come along? Put Jamie Chadwick in the car. Hurry up.
Like, the thing is that, I mean, it wasn't, and also one person who also got shafted in all of this was Lewis Hamilton. He went from 15th to 5th, and it's like he could have had a very good race result with a come from behind goodness if it wasn't for what happened with Latifi. Now I still maintain that Latifi, he's running his own. I mean, Latifi, he's running his own race, and unfortunately, it's an ecosystem where it's an ecosystem with the butterfly effect, where one butterfly flaps certain wings, and a whole tornado is in somewhere in the world. The whole tornado, a whole cyclone, really turns up in another part of the world. But at the same time, it's starting to become an issue, especially, and Paul is right, with Alex Albon as well too. And Alex went from GTM. It wasn't like he was sitting on his. It wasn't like he was going golfing with his lovely girlfriend Lily. He was. I mean, I'm sure she did that, but at the same time, he was also in the DTM, and those guys are crazy. They get into fights a lot too. In fact, they should start a reality show called "Keeping Up with the DTM Drivers." But still, like, I agree. Nicholas Latifi might be in trouble, which is sucks because I'm gonna miss Admiral Defender.
I will not. I will not. I really won't. I mean, like, I love Canadians. They're amazing. Your country's fantastic. And I think Latifi is a sweet guy. But, like, I am literally tired. I am literally tired of him not doing anything with that car. He is completely... He is giving, honestly, all paid drivers a very bad name. Like, a very, very, very bad name. Like, at least have something to make up for that. Like, do something.
Where's Lance Stroll?
Lance Stroll actually does something with the car. I mean, where did he even place? Lance Stroll came 13th. Okay, it wasn't great. But Lance Stroll has actually done things. He has some talent, But, like...
That kid has poise. He is all the poise and grace went into his driving skills.
But I was just a little bit. I'm just so frustrated with him. Like, I could not believe that this is the third time that I'm getting on the show and talking about how underwhelming he is. And I'm glad that actually other people are seeing it too. Like, it's hard, mate.
Oh, yeah, I mean, even the stats. even the stats are saying it honestly because I think qualifying he was I think the only driver in the 1 minute 30 runs, and just race pace his fastest lap was way down compared to Albon. So he is definitely at risk. I don't know if they're gonna do like a mid-season swap. I don't know if they will do that. But I mean the money is important, right? So they can't really do that. But
Just that I think, and that's the frustrating thing about it is that Williams has someone that is capable that can get into the put even what's his name Jack Aiken, put him even in there. He can do something with the car. Put like
did a couple sessions last week.
put exactly, and then put Jamie Chadwick there. She's just sitting there. I think she's actually gone on to sign up again for something else. But grab her and also put there. There are two very capable people in their academy right now. But instead, because Latifi has the money, he's there. And I mean, like, I don't like that personally. It's not my cup of tea. I'd rather you be a sponsor than you be sponsored than be like have your own money outright to get into the sport, because I don't feel like that does anything for you. But like if you're gonna do it, at least have some skills to back it up. And I feel like Zhao and what's it called, Stroll have all like really properly proven themselves and are doing things with their cars. And Latifi, this is year number 3 or 4 he's been here. I'm tired.
I think it might be number 4.
I'm tired. I am tired. I'm tired. Anyway, but I also, before we end, because we are also running very long, I want to quickly talk about Max and Leclerc and that battle.
That was a battle.
That was a beautiful thing to see. It was really great. Those fighting, the lockups, the drama of it all, like all of the things.
Can we just before their battle though? I think early doors the best battle was definitely Ocon and Alonso. Those guys, oh my goodness, they were just spicing everything up early on. And it was, I don't think I've seen that kind of battle between teammates in a while, honestly. Like, they were just going for it, lap after lap after lap. Unfortunately, Alonso retired, but, it was such good racing. It was so good.
Yeah,
I guess it just reinforces, sorry.
No, go ahead. We do that a lot. We interrupt each other.
Yeah, okay, fine then. Yeah, I think it just reinforces, I think a bunch of drivers said that, in the post-race show that finally the regulations actually made a change. That they can actually drive and follow each other way better. I think we saw that with the DRS train when they all overtook Magnussen. That was a bit sad, but there was a lot of close racing in this race, and I think I don't really remember from the rain, but at least this race was great, and especially considering it's a street circuit where super high speeds ordinarily they wouldn't be able to do anything. I mean, if you're in the twisties, you're gonna be completely gone, right? But I think that it was really good showcase of the new regulations.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that was amazing racing from the both of them, and it's actually kind of nice to see Ocon take it to Alonso and not be necessarily afraid of the fact that this is a 2-time world champion, and with all of his experience, and just give him hell. So I was very impressed with Ocon's driving with that. So I now kind of see why Toto keeps him around.
I was just about to say, Esteban Ocon, who was starting to turn it around for me with that battle, he really did stick it to Fernando Alonso.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like the track battles that were happening during that race was sublime.
And it wasn't even just Ocon. At the last second, he held and kept his position from Lando Norris as well too. And Lando, he can be quite aggressive. So that was really, really fun to see as well too. Just them coming in and doing a massive drag race right to the end. That was a great battle in itself. We are at time, guys. We've been talking for a bit. So let's do some final thoughts. How are we feeling? We will start with a say.
I mean, I guess with this race, it's all's well that ends well, right? Like, it's it's like I guess I mean there's a lot to talk about, but it's really good. Great battles. Haas, we didn't get to speak about this, but Haas is still doing amazing, even just with Kevin Magnussen. Yeah, Magnussen. And then at the same time, it's like we got good things from and Mercedes. I mean, George still ended up P5, so that was really good too. And it's just like, I mean, this is a great. I mean, it's you look at the race with Max and Charles fighting each other. You look at it and you go, well, I guess things did work out in the end. But I really do hope. But there's a lesson in all of this that if you can't convince drivers that to race when their safety is at stake, up. Because it's like, I mean, I remember following that story and it's just looking at it and I'm like, I'm really scared for these guys. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, so it's like, there's a lesson in all of that. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, Saudi Arabia is going to be around for a very long time. So, yeah. What else is there to say? Mercedes will get there in the end. Ferrari, good to see them back. Red Bull, stay pretty. Everyone else, yeah, that's all.
All right. Then I'm trying to. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to. Oh yeah, there I am doing. Let me go next. This season, how do I put it? This race was tricky, just tricky. I think that if a race is not done well, then I feel like it's difficult to. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like a lot. I was just glad, actually, honestly, that we were out of Saudi Arabia. To be honest, I was just over it. It was just a lot. It was messy. I think the Saudi government and FIA and F1 need to really think about their lives, and just and how they go about with things. But yeah, I mean, I'm way looking forward to Australia. I'm tired. I just want to go to Australia now. Paul, you're up.
Yeah, I think that I do agree with you guys, and I think that it's sad because I think it just reminds me that at the end of the day, a lot of things are, I wouldn't say ruined, but are really just negatively impacted by just money in general. I mean, yes, you do need money to go racing. You do need it to get the cars developed and everything. But at the end of the day, F1 is owned by Liberty Media. These guys are a publicly traded company, and they need to please the shareholders and all these different things. So it is unfortunate to see how, like, even in terms of the calendar, like, look how many races we have. Like it's just cramming content and trying to keep people entertained. And I think if we're not careful, what's going to happen is that it's really going to just start hurting the drivers a lot more because they're the ones at the tip of the spear that is the teams, right? There's a lot of people behind the scenes doing so much work. And so I do think that there was, Saudi Arabia in terms of a race, it was a good race, right? It was a good race, but I think the overall context was definitely not ideal. Mm-hmm. But I am excited for, I think, the next few races. I do think that this new formula is good. I think that was probably the biggest fear that we had kind of coming into this, especially, with testing and all the crazy stuff that teams still have to figure out. I'm obviously very glad that the Scuderia is back. They are really doing a great job. And yeah, I'm also glad because all of that young generation, they're really stepping it up, Sainz, Leclerc, obviously Verstappen, Russell. a lot of these guys are stepping up, and it's really good to see. So I'm excited for the rest of the season, but let's just hope that things keep going well.
Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
that's really what it is.
Honestly, no, crossing fingers and toes. But no, Paul, thank you so much for joining us today. We've loved the banter. We've loved the vibes. It was so wonderful. Where do you want to be found? Do you, yeah, do you have anything to plug or anything like that?
I don't actually know if, I mean, I got an Instagram, but I don't really, I mean, yeah, you can find me there on there at Paul_3K. Um, but you just send me a DM. You can talk about F1. I love talking about F1 with people, especially in this part of the world where a lot of people aren't really big on that stuff. They'll tell you that F1 is not a sport, so
No.
But yeah, it's been great being here. Honestly, thanks for having me.
No, our pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us, and thank you all for watching. We're gonna be gone because there ain't a Grand Prix until Australia, which is where I'm at, so I can finally watch one live. I'm over it.
This is a home Grand Prix for you as well.
It is our home Grand Prix too for all three of us actually. So it's great. We love the Australian. It's the first time in 2 years that it's been back, and so we're super excited.
Yeah.
I drove actually past the track. I am like fangirling. It's great. But I don't think I'm gonna make it, but it's totally fine. There's always next year. But thank you all so much for joining. We'll catch you in 2 weeks for the very, very, very Aussie Grand Prix. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye.